Are you sure your daily meals are truly healthy when they still include pan-fried meat, sausage, or a few tempting slices of bacon? Delicious and convenient, they can be deceiving because few people know that these familiar meats can harbor the risk of high blood pressure, stroke, and gradually weaken the body. More worryingly, some meats, with just 50 grams consumed daily, can significantly increase the risk of bowel cancer. But don't worry, there are still types of meat that, if you know how to choose and prepare them, will become your allies in muscle recovery, inflammation reduction, and natural blood pressure stabilization. So, the question isn't, should we eat meat or not, but what kind of meat should we eat? Today's video will unveil the secret, answering the question many older adults are searching for. To live a long and healthy life, what meats should older adults prioritize, and which should they avoid? Let's explore 3 potential culprits you should absolutely avoid. Even a small amount daily can silently raise blood pressure, damage blood vessels, and increase the risk of cancer, according to the WHO. And then there are 3 heroes you should add to your daily menu. Not only do they provide high-quality protein, but also help those over 60 protect their muscles, fight inflammation, and restore overall health. Interestingly, the line between seemingly good meat and truly good meat can sometimes be very thin. So, I will guide you step by step, starting with the 3 types of meat to avoid most, then revealing the 3 best types of meat in reverse order, making it easy for you to remember and apply immediately after watching this video. Let's continue, because every meat choice you make today will affect your health in the future, and you might be surprised by the meat ranked second on the blacklist. One that many people still believe is beneficial, but the truth may be very different from what you think. The story of health in later years sometimes begins with the things we least suspect, perhaps the cheerful sizzle of crispy fried meat on the stove. Have you ever thought that it's not just eating a lot of meat that's bad, but choosing the wrong type of meat, preparing it incorrectly, and maintaining that habit over the years that is truly a cause for concern? Reputable organizations like the WHO, AHA, and Harvard University have pointed out that there are 3 types of meat that those over 60 should be particularly cautious about. This is because they can silently increase the risk of stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and even the dreaded colorectal cancer. Today, we will begin our story with a dish that is perhaps very familiar in daily life, but harbors risks that we need to pay special attention to. The story of convenient deliciousness and its silent consequences. Fried meat fast food. Perhaps in this busy life, you often turn to quick solutions for meals. A fragrant piece of fried chicken bought in a hurry, a tempting hamburger made in a flash, or a plate of crispy fried meat sold by the roadside. But the important point here is that a little can become a silent cycle, and the older we get, the harder it is for our bodies to accept that repetition. Those meats deep fried in oil, those convenient fast foods, while hitting the taste buds, seem to completely overlook the real needs of muscle tissue. Few people know that the deadly combination of saturated fat present in the meat, cooking oil used multiple times, and refined carbohydrates from the crispy batter all create something that researchers call a metabolic burden. It prevents muscles from being properly nourished, causes chronic inflammation to accumulate, and hinders the ability to rebuild new muscle tissue. The very thing that helps us stand firm, maintain balance, and walk confidently. We don't realize it immediately, but a few months later, it might be a slip in the bathroom, a time when you stand up unsteadily, or a feeling of disappointment when you discover your body no longer has the same strength as before. There are things we once considered small, a piece of fried chicken for a quick lunch, a box of fast food for the grandkids, a convenient dinner instead of elaborate cooking, all very familiar, very normal. Until one day, you suddenly realize getting up from your favorite chair is slower, your calves tire more quickly, and the feeling of "I wasn't like this before" appears more and more clearly. No one tells us that muscle loss isn't a moment. It's a process, happening silently, day by day, starting from things that seem insignificant. A fatty meal, a repeated habit, a slight heaviness in the stomach after dinner that we ignore. And then, the body reacts, but without a sound. It just slows down. Research from Harvard says no differently. They don't just warn about the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, or diabetes. They clearly state that people who eat fried foods regularly have higher levels of inflammation in their bodies, a type of inflammation that doesn't cause pain, red skin, or fever, but is enough to weaken muscle fibers and significantly reduce the ability to recover after walking or exercising. I know many people still think, I only eat a little. What's the harm in a piece of fried chicken? But try to notice after that meal, do you feel unusually sleepy? Or does your leg suddenly feel tired and you don't want to move anymore? That's not old age. That's your body spending too much energy processing something it no longer adapts to as well as when it was younger. Fortunately, we don't have to give up the flavors we love. Just change the way we cook. A piece of meat pan-fried with a little olive oil or cooked in an air fryer still retains a light, crispy crust, but no longer produces toxins. Steamed, boiled, then shredded and mixed with herbs, garlic, ginger, pepper. Still flavorful, but gentler on the liver, muscles, and nervous system. Fried meat isn't bad. What's concerning is how we overuse it and how our bodies struggle each time to process that crispy deliciousness. Aging muscles don't need absolute abstinence, just protection through smarter choices. Here is the corrected U.S. English translation for the paragraphs you requested. Fried foods cause a quick reaction in the body. We can feel the fatigue and heaviness in the stomach after just a few hours. But sometimes, what's more dangerous comes from things that seem nutritious at first glance. A marbled cut of red meat, grilled to a fragrant perfection. A slice of ribeye that melts softly in your mouth, appealing to the eye, rich in energy, making us think of nourishment rather than a warning. But it's those very fats, though subtle and tempting, that silently interfere with the muscle recovery process and cause many people to lose their strength without understanding why. A man in his 60s very proud that he never eats fast food, but then when asked carefully about his meals, he shared, "I eat simply, all red meat to keep me strong, a grilled beef rib in the morning, and a lightly pan-fried ribeye in the evening." And unfortunately, those very pieces of meat that seemed rich and nutritious were contributing to his weakening muscles, poor recovery, and gradual loss of springiness each year. Not all red meat is bad, but if it's red meat high in saturated fat, cooked at high temperatures, then no matter how tender it is, it's no longer friendly to a body that's aging day by day. Science has made it clear. Fatty cuts of red meat like ribeye, T-bone, or beef belly are the richest suppliers of saturated fat in the modern diet, and saturated fat, according to the American Heart Association, not only raises bad cholesterol, LDL, but also contributes to the gradual narrowing of blood vessels. That means blood, the very thing that transports nutrients to every muscle fiber, no longer has enough road to nourish them. When blood flows slowly, the body recovers slowly. When muscles aren't nourished, they waste away, quietly, without warning. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The submerged part, more dangerous, is that saturated fat reduces insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue. In young people, every time they eat protein, insulin helps the protein run into and nourish the muscles. But in older adults, muscles have already begun to resist. If we then eat fatty meat, the muscle tissue no longer receives the signal. The protein enters and is ignored. Every time we eat what we think is nourishing, the muscles are starved again. Not to mention, when we grill fatty meat at high temperatures like pan-frying or BBQing, those charred edges produce hard-to-pronounce compounds, AGEs and HCAs. You don't need to remember their names. Just know that they are silently destroying the structure of muscle cells, causing muscles to age faster, weaken sooner, and recover more poorly after very simple tasks, like grocery shopping, cleaning the house, or getting up from a chair. Thousands of older adults think they are weakening because they are getting old, but in reality, many of them are just lacking muscle mass that they have unknowingly lost through repeated meals, where fatty red meat is always considered good meat. Not everyone feels pain. Not everyone gets sick. It's just that one day they find they can no longer climb stairs like they used to. They can no longer stand up as quickly as before, and they call it natural decline. But the truth is, it's the result of small choices, repeated, silently, unnoticed. See, not everything that looks fatty and tender is truly nutritious. There are cuts of meat, even if they don't cause stomach aches or make us immediately tired, that erode the body's strength from within. quietly and steadily, like water dripping on a stone. And if that ribeye or beef belly still gives us a feeling of warmth in the stomach and a little energy, then the next type of meat here is what causes our bodies to lose the most without much compensation. Because it doesn't just weaken muscles, it also forces the heart to strain, it disrupts blood vessels, and worst of all, it introduces substances into the body that shouldn't be there at any age, let alone old age. I'm talking about processed meat, sausage, cured sausage, bacon, packaged deli meat, things that are very familiar in the refrigerators of millions of families, considered convenient, quick, easy to eat, and easy to store. But it is precisely these that are the hidden culprits at the top of the list of things harmful to the muscles, blood pressure, memory, and even the lifespan of older adults. Perhaps no one thinks that a few slices of sausage, a piece of deli meat in a sandwich, or a package of cured sausage stored in the freezer could cause anything serious. They are so convenient, so easy to buy, and for many older adults, they are a lifesaver when they don't want to cook elaborately or simply want something to tide them over. But because they are so familiar and so easy to use, these types of meat often bypass all caution, and then the body begins to suffer, silently, from the inside. Did you know that to preserve them for a long time, maintain their attractive color and flavor, processed meats must undergo a series of treatments with high amounts of salt, nitrites, colorings, and preservatives? We don't see it with our eyes, but the body feels it through persistent inflammatory reactions, metabolic disorders, and especially the gradual weakening of muscle fibers that need to be nourished every day. A seemingly harmless sausage can contain 3 to 4 times the amount of sodium that older adults should consume in one meal. And along with that is nitrite, an additive that can create nitrosamine compounds classified by the World Health Organization, WHO, as probably carcinogenic to humans when accumulated over the long term. But that's not all. Nitrites and preservatives also interfere with cellular oxidation, making muscle tissue more vulnerable, harder to recover, and almost completely inhibiting the synthesis of new protein. What makes processed meat most dangerous is that it doesn't cause immediate symptoms. No bloating, no pain. But over time, it silently impairs the ability to control blood pressure, disrupts electrolyte balance in muscles, and increases chronic muscle inflammation, all of which contribute to early muscle loss, weak legs, and the risk of falls. Unfortunately, many people still mistakenly believe that low-fat sausage and lean deli meat are healthy. But the truth is, the danger doesn't lie in the meat itself, but in what comes with it during the processing. And the bodies of older adults, with reduced liver and kidney function and more sensitive digestive systems, are no longer strong enough to cope with those additives every day. We don't need to cut everything out completely. Just be clear. If you happen to eat processed meat, eat very little, very rarely, and never use it as a main dish. Instead, go back to fresh meat, boiled meat, shredded chicken, steamed fish, simple things that are friendly to every muscle fiber, every heartbeat, and every night's sleep. Because one slice of sausage doesn't make anyone fall, but a prolonged habit with processed meat could be part of the reason why we no longer stand up as easily as we used to. Meat isn't the villain. What causes harm isn't meat itself, but how we choose and prepare it. A piece of crispy, fatty, or heavily seasoned fried meat can slow the body down, but a lean portion, cooked gently and correctly, is what helps muscles recover, the mind stay sharp, and the cardiovascular system become more stable each day. Therefore, the issue isn't to eat meat or not, but whether we've chosen correctly. Fortunately, the answer isn't far away. Experts from Harvard, Mayo Clinic, and the American Heart Association have clearly confirmed there are still types of meat, delicious and nutritious, that are extremely suitable for people over 60. They are not only easy to digest and rich in high-quality protein, but also help reduce inflammation, nourish muscle tissue, restore the nervous system, and keep your heart healthier year after year. Right now, I will explore with you 3 types of meat that are companions for your golden years, ranked in order of increasing effectiveness. From the simplest, most readily available type in the supermarket, to the top-ranked type, capable of changing memory, sleep, leg strength, and the quality of life in old age silently but powerfully. Shall we begin? We've heard a lot about the harm of red meat, but few clearly state that not every part of red meat is bad. If you choose the right cuts, like lean meat without marbling, removing the outer layer of fat, then it is an extremely valuable source of nutrition, especially for those over 60. Because after this age, the body no longer absorbs iron and vitamin B12 from plants as effectively as before. And these are two micronutrients that play an important role in muscle tissue regeneration, blood production, memory maintenance, and fatigue reduction. Without them, muscles lack nourishment, nerves transmit signals incorrectly, and the ability to maintain balance also decreases. You can eat a lot of vegetables and drink enough water, and still feel weak, get headaches easily, and tire easily, precisely because of a lack of these foundational elements. Lean red meat also contains leucine, an amino acid that science calls the muscle regeneration switch. That is, when the body has enough leucine, it will activate the ability to synthesize new protein from meals. Without it, no matter how much protein you eat, your muscles cannot recover effectively. So, which cuts are the right ones? Look for cuts labeled loin, sirloin, round, or tenderloin. Usually tenderloin, sirloin, rump, and shoulder. These are lean, firm cuts with minimal marbling, easy to slice thinly. Very suitable for older adults. The cooking method doesn't need to be complicated either. Boil, steam, braise, lightly pan fry at medium heat. Avoid direct high heat grilling or deep frying. The lighter the meal, the more grateful your body will be. Just 60 to 90 grams of lean red meat per serving, regularly 2 to 3 times per week is sufficient, and if you combine it with green vegetables, lentils, oats, or small nuts, the effectiveness of muscle recovery will be much more noticeable. Lean red meat, when chosen and cooked correctly, is not the enemy. On the contrary, it is a silent helper, helping to maintain strength in your legs, sharpness in your mind, and independence in your life in old age. Lean red meat, if chosen correctly, is a good friend to muscles and blood. But I understand. Not everyone is accustomed to the rich flavor of beef or pork every week. Some say, the doctor said it's okay to eat red meat, but it still feels a bit heavy in my stomach. Or some people have had high cholesterol, so they become wary and hesitant whenever they see the word meat. And that's when we need a lighter option, more delicate, but still strong enough to protect the health of old age, a type of meat that is leaner, softer, easier to digest, and that almost everyone has been familiar with for a long time. Not unfamiliar, not expensive, but quietly accompanies the body after age 60 very persistently. I'm talking about chicken breast, or skinless turkey breast, the type of meat that geriatric nutrition experts consider the most gentle in the protein world. And now let's take another look at why this simple, seemingly boring dish is the true love for the muscles, digestion, and cardiovascular system of older adults. Let me share a story about Mrs. Main, 68 years old, living in the suburbs. She shared, "My body is weak now. I can't eat beef and seafood doesn't agree with me. Every day I just eat a little boiled chicken breast with salad. I thought I was eating like that to be easy on my stomach. Who knew that when I went for a checkup, the doctor said I've maintained a very stable muscle mass for my age." That's not a coincidence. It's because she unknowingly chose correctly, the most suitable type of meat for older adults. Chicken breast, or skinless turkey breast, is one of the best sources of lean protein we can find. According to the American Heart Association, every 100 grams of skinless chicken breast contains 25 to 30 grams of high biological value protein, almost no saturated fat, and is very easy to digest. For older adults, this is extremely important because after age 60, the stomach works slower and digestive enzymes weaken. If you eat fatty or deep-fried meat, the body has to strain to process it. But with lean poultry, it goes in gently, absorbs quickly, and is almost completely assimilated. Not only that, chicken breast is also a very gentle meat for the cardiovascular system. It doesn't raise bad cholesterol, doesn't cause inflammation, doesn't accumulate fat in the liver, and when combined with vegetables, soft tofu, oats, or flax seeds, you are creating a meal for yourself that is not only complete but also helps restore muscle tissue, stabilize blood pressure, and support gentle digestion. Another big plus of chicken breast is its versatility in cooking. No need for grease, no need for heavy seasoning. Just soft steaming, boiling, or pan frying with a little olive oil is delicious enough. Chopping it small for soup, shredding it to mix with vegetables, mashing it lightly for porridge. All suitable for older adults, especially when teeth are weak or when eating small portions but still wanting enough nutrients. I often mention an important point that many people overlook. You don't need to eat a lot of protein in one meal. What's needed is to spread it out, 20 to 30 grams per meal, morning, noon, and evening. That way, the body has time to absorb everything completely and continuously activates muscle regeneration throughout the day. Poultry isn't flashy, not trendy, but for older adults, it's like a gentle but loyal companion, day after day, helping to keep legs steady, arms strong enough to lift things, garden, and take walks. Poultry is light, easy to digest, and extremely effective in helping the body avoid muscle loss over time. But if you are someone who has experienced nighttime leg cramps, or have felt your thighs tire after walking for only a few minutes, or simply standing up, and your legs already feel heavy as if weighed down by stones, then it's very likely that your muscles are not only lacking protein, but also lacking the ability to absorb protein effectively. And that's when we need a special helper, not just rich in protein, but also capable of unlocking the muscle regeneration process in older adults. A type of meat, as light as white meat, as easy to digest as poultry, but as powerful as a natural therapy for muscles, heart, and brain. I'm talking about fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines. Not a luxury, but a smart solution for muscles that are silently weakening over the years. Fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, are not a luxury, but within that seemingly simple piece of fish is a powerful system of nutrients that affects the three things people over 60 need most: nourishing muscles, reducing low-grade inflammation, improving nerve transmission, helping with quick reflexes and good balance. With just 100 grams of fatty fish, you receive 20 to 25 grams of complete, easily digestible protein, gentle on the liver, EPA and DHA, two forms of omega-3 that the body cannot produce on its own but are extremely necessary for older adults. EPA helps reduce inflammation in muscle tissue, the silent cause of slow muscle recovery or pain and fatigue even without heavy exercise. DHA protects nerves, helping signals from the brain travel clearly to the muscles, avoiding slow commands or sudden nighttime cramps. What's special is, omega-3s also help muscles become more sensitive to protein from food. That is, eating the same amount of protein, but with EPA-DHA, muscles will absorb and use it much more effectively. Many studies have shown older adults who eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week not only maintain stable muscle mass, but also recover faster after each walk, light exercise, or physical therapy session. The way to use it is very simple. Eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week, about 80 to 100 grams each time. Prioritize steaming, light braising, and light grilling. Avoid deep frying or grilling over high heat, as it can destroy valuable omega-3s. If you are not used to the smell of fish, you can start with canned sardines without salt, eaten with salad. Lightly pan-fried salmon, eaten with oatmeal or boiled vegetables. Fatty fish isn't flashy or as strongly flavored as beef or chicken, but for a body that is gradually weakening over time, it is something that silently restores every muscle fiber, every blood vessel, every nerve fiber. It prevents you from getting cramps when night falls, keeps your legs from tiring after just a few steps, and keeps your spirit strong when you know that your body still has the ability to recover, even at an advanced age. We have just gone through a small journey together, from the types of meat to avoid, to the choices that are truly suitable for an aging body. Perhaps you once thought, at this age you can eat anything, as long as it tastes good. But the truth is, every piece of meat we eat today, no matter how small, is either rebuilding or destroying a part of tomorrow's strength. Meat isn't the villain. What's needed isn't abstinence, but choosing correctly, cooking correctly, and eating at the right time. There are meats that tire the heart, cause muscles to atrophy, and make the body easily fatigued. But there are also types of meat that help nourish weakened muscle fibers, help legs no longer tremble when walking quickly, and help you do the smallest things yourself every day, without needing anyone's support. You don't need to change everything in one day. Just start with the smallest thing. Replace fried foods with tender braised fish. Choose steamed chicken instead of processed sausage. Cut a thin slice of lean meat. Boil it with vegetables instead of a marbled ribeye. And divide your protein intake evenly over 3 meals. Instead of concentrating it in one large meal and then complaining of fatigue, the body can still recover, can still get stronger, can still maintain steady legs if we start today. If this video makes you feel more at ease and understand your own body better, please send it to a loved one, maybe your spouse, the friend you walk with every evening, or the child who is still struggling to find suitable food for their parents. And if you want to receive more videos like this about muscles, blood pressure, nutrition, and the health of your golden years, please hit the subscribe button. Next week, I will be back with a new story, a new perspective, and another simple solution for you to continue living healthy, living actively, even after the age of 60.